Okay, now I can't emphasize this enough, but as we're doing this, you probably maybe haven't programmed hardly at all ever. This might be your first week of programming and you're like, I don't understand how I'm supposed to know how to do this with my first week of programming, and the answer is you're not. The whole idea is I'm just trying to show you some cool stuff to do with programming so you can just accidentally maybe learn things. Remember that a lot of times you learn things just by watching other people do stuff and going, yeah, I don't know what you're doing, but I'm just gonna follow what you're doing and maybe figure this out on my own. It's like ordering HelloFresh and being like, look, I can kind of cook just because I can follow directions. So, I mean, you're not, ordering HelloFresh and assuming that you're like an awesome chef. You're just like, look, I followed directions and I made pancetta. Is that a thing? Pancetta? I don't know. Obviously not a chef. So you're following directions, you're making code. This does not make you a programmer. It just means you can follow directions, but you can still make something and it's kind of fun. So anyway, just enjoy it. So, and again, I've made this code like 1,700,000 times. And so I've kind of worked out the kinks, except obviously not all of them because I continue to make dumb things like put this in the wrong place. So anyway, now that you have basic code working, and I'll show this just in case you missed the other videos, you can kind of see the whole thing here. Doop-de-doop-de-doo, This is basically what it looks like. And that's the whole code that we have. The next thing that we're going to do is I'm going to read doc. Come here, girl. Doc editor. Now what we actually can do is we can do some fun with it. If you have a basic functionality, now you can go in and you can do some things with it. So I think one of the things I want to do is I want to fix the fact that if I play it and I put in like a 5, it just errors out because this can't be more than 4. The same thing would happen if I put in a 0. It'll error out. So I think what I might do is do something like, okay, so I could be like, now there's a lot of ways to make this like fancy, and I can make things fancy, I can make things not fancy. So this is definitely like, I guess what I'm trying to say is this is not like the most sophisticated way to do this. I'm kind of do this the icky sticky way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off by saying, so if the row guess, so if it's less than or equal to 0, right, it has to be between 0 or 1 to 5, right? So if it's less than or equal to 0, or, okay, now the or in Matlab, so there's and, okay, so let's see, help, and, does this give me anything? Okay, so and not found, so this is logical and, is the and sign, and then it says or. Okay, so in Matlab, so this is one of the things I like about help in Matlab is it'll say like, also, or. So or is this thing, and it's actually the thingy that's like above the enter key or below the backspace key. So it's like shift below backspace or shift right pinky. And it's called a pipe, I think, but it looks like that. So that's the or. So you either want it, if it's either less than or equal to 0, or if it's greater than or equal to 6, that's bad, right? That means it's outside the range. Why are you yelling at me? Replace 1 bar with 2 bars. Okay, I'm going to put 2 bars there because it seems to want 2 bars. Okay, so if it's guessing outside that range, let me just for the moment put a display that says this is going to go badly for the row, okay? And I'm going to do something similar for the column. So take a moment and see if you can figure this out, what would need to go here. So maybe pause the video, just kind of do some pattern matching on your own. give it a shot. Think about what you think might go there. And we'll pretend that happened. So if call guess ends up being less than or equal to 0, or the call guess was greater than or equal to 5, then this is going to go badly for the column. Okay. So let me make sure that this is correct. So I'm going to run this because this is what we do. Okay, I hope you're getting the point is that every time you're making code, you try something, you run it. 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 Okay, so I tried something, now I'm going to run it. Okay, so I'm going to put in a 6. And it should go badly. So I'm going to put in a normal column 3. Oh, I misspelled the word call guess. I did. Look at that. Okay. So whenever you see the phrase unrecognized function or variable, that almost always means you spelled something wrong. Okay? Call guess, guess, guess. Okay, let me try it again. And this is why we run everything every single time, because we always do something stupid. So I'm going to put in a row 6, column 3. Okay. Index in position 1. Position 1 is the row, exceeds array bounds. Index must not exceed 5. And that makes sense because it says if it's greater than or equal to 6. Okay. All right, so let me try it again for, give me column 5. Index must not exceed 4. Okay, so good. I'm getting errors like I expect to get errors. Awesome. Okay. So, let's see. I wonder if I go to help while, and again, this isn't something you're just going to know. So like I'm acting like, oh look, it takes me 3 seconds and I'm going to like get this answer. This is not how this works in real life. In real life, you cuss at it for like 3 days and you come back to it later and you figure it out. But I'm just going to look at it and go, okay. So you see under help while, it lists a couple of options. It says the break statement can be used to terminate the loop prematurely. So it seems like the break makes me get out of the loop entirely. So what it seems like I could do is I could do something called break to like quit. Like if somebody guesses something wrong, I could quit. There's also something called for, if, switch, break, continue, end. So if I go break terminates the execution of the loop. Well, I don't want to quit. I just want to like tell them to like do a better guess, right? For, while, return, continue. Let's try continue. Continue. Pass control to the next iteration of the for or while loop. I'm not entirely sure what that means. Passes control to the next iteration, skipping any remaining statements. Okay, so skips anything else in that loop. Okay, so what I think it's going to do, well, okay, I'm acting like I don't know what it's going to do. I clearly know what it's going to do. But based on the wording, it sounds like what it's going to do, and this is correct, is it's going to skip, if I get to the word continue, it's going to skip anything else and just go back up to the top again of the loop. So this is, I think, what I want to do, is it's a weird word, and I don't think this is the word I would have guessed on my own, and that's why the help function, so I figured this out. I never would have come up with this word continue on my own. I got there by going help while, right? And it told me about this thing called break. And I was like, is break what I want? And I'm like, no, break's not what I want. Return. I guess I didn't click on return. Return to invoking function. That just sounds scary. Sounds like I'm a witch or a sorcerer. So continue passes control of the next iteration. So I think continue is what I'm going to do. So again, word continue is not something I come up with on my own. It's something that I get by playing around and looking in the documentation. I wonder what happens if I actually click on documentation. So continue. Oh, thank you so much. Using a modulo example is always fantastic. If continue. Yeah, I love these examples that are perfect for people who already know what they're doing. All right, so let's just try it. I mean, I can always just come and take it back out if I want. Continue. Okay, so it turned blue. So if you remember, if something turns blue, it is a super duper special word in Matlab. So let's see what's going on. I'm just going to write the word continue, and I'm just going to run it and see what happens. So Control Enter, give me a row. I'm going to put in the number 12 because that's obviously outside the scope. It's going to go badly for the row. Give me a row. So it's going to, okay, so basically it stopped here and it went back to the top and it said give me a row again. 11. Give me a row. 14. Okay, so as long as I'm giving numbers that are outside that range, it's going to give me, it's going to keep going here and asking me for this row again. Now it's going to ask me for the column. And I can give it a bad column, and now it's going to error out because I didn't put that continue there. So maybe instead of saying this is going to go badly for a row, I could say something. I could actually give it a useful error. This is, or something like, you need to give a row between 1 and 5. And then something like, you need to guess a column between 1 and 4, and then continue again. So that will get out of that loop. So let's try this. So if I put in some dorky answers, oh, look at that. So I put in a 3 and then a column. I put in 9 and it's like, oh, but see, now it's asking me to do a row. Okay, so I'm just going to have to deal with this. It's just going to, okay, so it's not asking me for a column. I have to go all the way back up to the row because the continue brings me all the way back to the beginning of the while loop. So that's just the way the cookie crumbles. Okay, whatever. It's just the way that I have to deal with life. This is, you know, until I become a more sophisticated programmer, maybe I'll warn my user. I'm going to go ahead and hit Control C to get out of this. Need to guess. Now you have to pick a row again so that they know that they're going back to a row. Give me a row. 3. Give me a column. 9. You need to guess a column between 1 and 4. Now you have to pick a row again. Okay, give me a row. 3. Give me a column. 3. Yay! And I missed. But that's okay because now I got that working. So in theory, I'm never going to be able to get an error. And this is really what you're going for in code is you want to be in a situation where you know, no matter what your user puts in, see, this is an error, but it doesn't kill the program. I put in text and it couldn't handle it. Is that no matter what your user puts in, the code will still keep running until they eventually quit. So again, I can either play this game until I win, or I can go ahead and put Control C. I have a theory. No, that's not going to do anything. Okay, I'm going to hit Control C to get out of it so I don't have to keep playing. So get that working, and then maybe we will add a couple of more things just to make it a little bit more competitive, maybe. But that was, I feel pretty satisfied with that. That was kind of fun.